Hi, I'm Carol Moore. Welcome to Vignette. I want to say something to my audience. I know I have a lot of people who watch the show, and you've watched the same shows for several months now. And life got in the way of my TV show, but I'm back. So if you like this show and you want to watch this show, call me and come on the show and we'll have a great interview. My guest tonight is Dwyer, and we have been on the show before together. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here.
It's good to have you. I'm so excited about talking to you because we had a chat on the phone.
Yes.
And the chat was about holidays and building up all the hype and what people, so many people are disappointed after a while.
Sure.
So I forgot to introduce you properly, though.
What's that?
Greg, you are a motivational speaker.
Mm-hmm.
You used to, as a career, you were a, how do I want to say that? Sleight of hand.
Illusionist?
Illusionist, that's the word
Okay,
I
yeah,
wanted.
yeah,
That's much better than a magician.
I think so, yeah.
Illusionist is cool.
Yeah.
And how long did you do that?
It was started at fourth grade. My uncle picked up a quarter. It was at my grandmother's house. You know, it was probably the holidays. And he just took it and went like that, and it was gone. And I went, wait a minute.
You went, whoa,
Yeah, so
how did you do that?
Exactly. So he was involved in the theater, so was my aunt. So they really kind of primed me, set me up, you know, and my parents were thinking, oh, this is a phase. But from fourth grade all the way up to high school, all the way up into college, I was doing magic semi-professionally.
Yeah.
And then I went into religion. I went into church work in the seminary, divinity school. But I would say all of my developing years, 70s, 80s, you know, up to probably 82, you know, around there.
What did that do for you? There's something about a performer, and there's something about magic, and now you deal with church and motivational speaking.
Right.
How did the magic help you? What was the segue into that?
You know, the story is familiar. A lot of guys and women, there's some women that are in magic, they get involved with magic because there's some lack or some need. For me, I thought I was so shy. So shy.
You weren't as shy as I was.
You were shy too,
yeah.
Right. So I remember, you know, fifth grade or fourth grade being in school and being really shy. And so magic kind of gives you the edge, you know, because you're working on something and you have control. You have certainty that you're going to do something, and most likely if you really practice and you're good at it, the outcome is going to get you some love and some appreciation.
And you get the awe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it brought me out of my shell. It was good. It wasn't great because, you know, what I did is I created this character that wasn't really me.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I didn't stay with it. I mean, I appreciate those years. What I call myself on my website is a former illusionist.
Yeah.
But a lot of what I've learned, I've used in my church work, and I've also used it with my speeches.
First of all, if you have a captive audience, they're almost ready to believe anything.
True. You know, you do have some people that are skeptical, you know, that don't.
But in church work also,
right,
you have people that are almost ready to believe anything.
Well, when I was in high school, my speech teacher told me, I guess it was 1990, what was it, 81? Yeah, 81 around then. And I was in a speech class. And the lady that taught the class, she said to me, and I'll never forget this, she goes, you could teach this class. And then I told her I was going to go into church work. And she says, well, you know, showmanship, being in the pulpit, it's very important. You don't want to be boring.
And there's nothing worse than a boring preacher.
Yeah.
Nothing worse than sitting there yawning.
I've met a few, you know, and hopefully people don't think that way about me, but it's not easy going to church and, you know, you're falling asleep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
Although there was, I read somewhere that there was a minister, or priest, somebody said, well, you know, this is a hard-working man that comes to my church and he sits there and falls asleep. He said, it's okay. It's probably the only rest he gets all week.
Right.
You know, so there's ways of looking at it all.
As long as you wake him up for the offering.
Yes. That's good. So what are you doing right now? I know that you went on a trip.
Yep. Just got back from a cruise, leaving in a couple months for Ireland, and then I have a cruise.
Now, is this part of your motivational speaking?
Yeah.
How do you get people to go on a cruise with you?
You know, it's word of mouth, and it's also just reaching out to people. But one of the things that I talk about in my workshop called The Magic of Communication is change, and how to change a person's mindset. And one way to do that is to take a person outside of their surroundings, which they're used to. Like here, it's Litchfield or it's Connecticut.
Yeah.
And so you take that person and you bring them to, I don't know, the Middle East. We're going to the Middle East in November. And you watch how they react to the different customs and the beliefs.
There's nothing like travel.
Exactly.
Nothing.
Yep.
You prepare yourself for a certain thing, and it's never like that. Never.
And I think it's a metaphor.
Yeah.
It's a metaphor because you know that you're going, you know that the time is limited, which is like life, and you have to prepare. And Rick Steves calls it intensified living because things go wrong.
Yes.
And you can have great things, you can have things that don't work the way you think that they are going to work. But in addition to that, if you have 20 or 30 people together on a trip, you have some people that want to shop, some people that want to sightsee, and so values show up.
Yeah.
And to me, I tell folks, this is a metaphor for your life.
Yeah.
You know, plan your life as a trip. So that's one of the things I talk about.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. One of the worst things that can ever happen on a trip is to get food poisoning.
Yeah. Oh, it happened to you?
It happened to me.
Where were you?
I was on a cruise ship.
Oh, yeah. We just came back, and they were constantly telling us, wash your hands.
It wasn't that.
It
was an oyster I ate.
Okay.
When I ate it, it was, I said, well, that wasn't very good, but I didn't know it was bad.
Yeah. Oh, that's terrible.
All night long.
But it wasn't the whole week. It didn't ruin your...
No, I lost one day.
Okay, yeah.
I lost one day. But then I was afraid to eat for the rest of the trip.
One time I went to Israel, and I was sick for a day, and we went to Petra. Doctor came in and gave me a shot, and we went right to Petra. But you never know. You just never know.
You don't know. One of the nice things about a trip is it opens your eyes. Mm-hmm. We say, oh my goodness, you know, Boston and a few places in here in the United States are so old. Look at the streets, look at the buildings. You go to Italy and they say, oh my God, you should see what's in America. Their houses are wood. They'll never last.
Right.
Never last. I stayed in a 14th century villa.
Wow, that's amazing.
And it's, you know, in Italy, there it is. Mm-hmm. It was built in the 14th century. My gosh.
Yeah, I know.
And you know, the walls are this thick, the floors are this thick, and there's 3 stories in the buildings. And, you know, I don't know how they did it.
I know. Or you look at the pyramids, you don't know how they did that either.
No.
So I've learned there's 2 types of people, those who like to travel, those who don't. And, you know, it's a belief. You know, some people want to stay home, they want things to be comfortable.
I would travel 2 or 3 times a year if I was able. I love it.